Hey, everybody, we're back for another FwooshCast. We got a full house today. This is Tony, I'm here with Nick. We have Fwoosh Prime, Paul, and we also have Robo. How you guys doing today?
Hungover.
Hungover.
They said full house and they were expecting Uncle Jesse.
The Olsen twins were really 4 people. If you've been binge watching The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, you would get that joke, but maybe you guys haven't.
TV. What's TV?
Yeah.
So it's been a while since we sat down. Thanks, guys, for all of you for joining. The dust has settled from Toy Fair. Legends have been flying fast and furious. The West Coast ports are open and stuff is pouring in. But I think probably the biggest news item since we last sat down has got to be the Four Horsemen's Mythic Legions Kickstarter. Nick and I were fortunate enough to talk to them at Toy Fair last month when the Kickstarter was just about halfway through and hadn't quite hit its funding yet, and we were very excited about it, and they were very anxious, obviously. And now it not only funded, it hit all its stretch goals, but it also I don't remember exactly the amount off the top of my head, but it was more than $500,000, right? $500,000, and I believe it was the largest action figure Kickstarter fund in history so far.
It ended up beating Boss Fight, I think, in the last couple of days. So Boss Fight last year was previously the most funded action figure Kickstarter. So yeah, they pushed it over the top.
So that's pretty cool.
Boss Fight was a little over $500,000, wasn't it?
I think they were. Let's see, the Mythic Legions came in at 452,000.
Okay.
Where's Boss Fight? So, search real fast.
Yeah, I'm looking for Boss Fight now.
Working.
Boss Fight was 412. So they beat it by about 40,000.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, fantastic that not only did it fund, and we're going to get these great figures, but it's got to bode well for an eventual second round of this. And when Nick and I were talking to them, they were talking about adding things like female body types and beasts and all kinds of other stuff that would be possible if this Kickstarter was successful, and it obviously couldn't have been more successful, so that's pretty great.
Yeah, they're going to have to wait for people's wallets to stop smoking before they offer up another one. But yeah, it was pretty amazing.
I'm just hoping that some of that stuff will, at least some of it will be available either in their shop or somewhere, because I wasn't able to go much more in than $100, and I tried to make that go as far as it could in terms of add-ons and stuff, but I would have loved to have gone all in if money was no object.
Well, I think they were talking about finding more outlets for this project. I think it's more accessible to people than the Ravens project probably was, since that one was pretty pointed. So if they could find some distributors or some outlets to sell it, I could see some of these things selling pretty well to the general public. In a tempered expectation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, depending on what they could get the price point at and that kind of a distribution, for sure. What of all of the figures and combinations that they had in there, Nick, what's your most anticipated figure?
The skeletons were my favorite for a long time, and then they showed off that bog goblin, and I just kind of fell in love with that.
Me too.
I think in the end he's probably a dead tie with that with the Fantastic exclusive winner. Actually, that Red Knight or the Blood Knight or whatever they're calling it. He definitely turned out to me to be like the coolest design single piece. So
yeah,
I'm definitely going to need those.
Yeah, that would be a great a great adversary for your Legendary Heroes Conan figure on the shelf, I would think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The Bog Goblin for me, it was that was just too cool.
Mine was the Barbarian.
Which one?
Atlas, the one without the armor on.
Right. Yeah, very cool. That was one of the first stretch goals, right? I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Atlas. Yes.
Yeah, I was glad they hit that, because that not only is that figure itself cool, but it opens up a lot of, since given the interplay of parts and stuff.
Yeah,
hitting
so
that stretch goal really opened up a lot of.
I was just looking, and if you include the little book that they're doing, as well as all the weapon packs, if you went all in on this thing, you get 40 separate items.
Jeez Louise.
So that's going to be a few cases coming to your house next spring. That's for sure.
Criminy.
But congratulations to them. I think overall the designs on everything work pretty well. I wasn't a huge fan of that blue and yellow creatures with kind of the horns. They seem to fit more into kind of the Gothotropolis theme to my eyes. But
right.
I think they did a pretty good job of bringing everything together. Mm-hmm. So they look like different factions, but they all have a little bit of cohesion together. So
yeah. Well, can't wait. I mean, obviously.
But you're going to have to wait a little
I know. I was going to say we got a year. We'll sit back here in a year when we've got the figures. But congratulations to them, and I'm super, super glad that funded. I mean, not only for them and then the future prospects of this line, but it only, helps, I think, the entire sort of category of self-funded action figure type projects, because I mean, as we've seen in the last few years, it's tougher and tougher for big toy companies to mass retail collector level figures like this, and I think this is kind of the thing of the future of smaller companies with smaller margins being able to really focus on these kind of things, and when something like this is that successful, I think that my hope is that more and more of this type of stuff keeps happening. So hooray!
Yeah, I hope so. You can get some pointed stuff that may not work at retail, but that doesn't mean that there's not a high collector demand for something like that. So right. I hope so. It's just there's always the threat of oversaturation, but I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. So
yeah. And you're talking about, I mean, what was the total number of backers was, I can't remember offhand, but it was under 2,000 individual backers, right?
Well, that's the thing. These are when as far as I'm concerned, until you've probably hit about that 5,000 mark, I think you're still got to consider this to be pretty boutique in terms of the number of backers. So these are people throwing down some serious money,
right? And for me, that's things. That's the whole thing. It's like obviously, Mattel can't produce a toy line that 2,000 people want. That's way too small. But that doesn't mean that 2,000 people wanting something doesn't make a project viable in another way. Like obviously this, Mythic Legions is a totally viable line. They've hit the amount of money they need to make to do it. So it's just, I don't know, it just shows the possibility for these sort of boutique things to be able to happen now in a world where there's a demand for this kind of stuff that the major toy companies can't fulfill. So I'm excited about the future. Now, obviously, people want, licensed things and stuff, but, that's a whole nother beast, obviously. But who knows where things could go in the future.
Yeah, licensed stuff, that kind of stuff for Kickstarters is always interesting to me, because obviously I think, like you said, for someone like Mattel or Hasbro, this probably isn't a viable avenue for them to produce something. And at the same time, since both of them are, I think is Hasbro public? Hasbro's a public company, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Their stock's actually been doing real well.
They don't want actual dollar amounts flying around, on the internet that would come with the Kickstarter. But then you also have to think about companies who may be an up-and-comer and they actually secure an existing license for something. You've got to wonder what the politics are with licensees about having their license within a Kickstarter, especially if it's not successful, because it kind of plays bad on
Right.
the viability of the actual license. So it's still trying to find its way. But.
Sure, it's super complicated, but I think I could believe that as these sort of things grow, and you have, some companies like Four Horsemen Studios or a couple of the others that have been out there that have been real successful, start to build a track record of successful, independently funded stuff, that you get the right people together in a room. I could see, some company granting a license to an independent place like that to do a very specific execution of something of theirs, in a way that they know that they're not going to make the company's not going to make use of at retail anyway, and that they would have enough confidence in this, this small independent studio that has, like I said, built a track record that they could feel comfortable with. Who knows? And it's down the road. It's complicated, but it certainly opens up a lot of possibilities, I think.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Look at, you have, 3A is not a perfect example. It's not necessarily, they're not crowdfunding, but, Marvel let Ashley Wood, go to town on some Marvel characters and his interpretation, because they know that's not anything like Hasbro or their other partners are interested in doing. And
I think Jesse Falcon's a 3A fan.
yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
But so I could see if there was someone like that producing. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see what the future.
I definitely think the business case is out there, and if you've got somebody out there who can put down the capital investment for it, and then turn that capital investment into a good business, as you mentioned, Four Horsemen are obviously doing that. Boss Fight seems to have done that, and maybe we'll see some other people down the line do it. And if there's enough success at it, and whether it continues to be a crowdfunding thing or whether these guys are able to do it on their own, I could definitely see where companies or licenses would reach out to these companies and say, hey, you want to produce a toy for us.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of but in that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Four Horsemen have a name.
Mm-hmm.
Four Horsemen, they've got an established name as toy producers, now designers and manufacturers. So they're an exception. Boss Fight is even an exception, because those guys are also designers and former manufacturers. So we have to see a nobody come in and do this and have the same level of success with the same type of articulation and design and manufacturing that Boss Fight and Four Horsemen are currently doing. Before we see licensors come out and say, "Hey, produce our stuff." I think we're, as you mentioned, it's a ways off, but I think we're at least a year or two from seeing that level of sophistication in these crowdfundings.
Sure.
Well, I'm with you on that, because if I'm going to drop a significant amount of money on a Kickstarter, especially if it's something that I really want, having the experience from people who have worked with this kind of thing before, like your design houses and whatnot, kind of going with somebody like that makes me feel a lot more comfortable, because either way, you plop down $500 on a Kickstarter and you've paid, at the beginning, and they're funded and they make it through the production process. Well, there's still the production process that needs to happen for these things to be successful. So that's a huge unknown that's kind of hard to get over when you're dealing with someone who has experience lacking in that area. So I think it's good to have good design house work with that.
Right. Well, I think I don't think anyone's going to ever walk into a Kickstarter type thing cold without a background in the industry of some kind and be successful. I think it's always going to be people that either have a history of partnering with companies or come from bigger companies themselves and are looking to do their own thing, kind of like the Horsemen. Those are the people that are going to be successful in the future with it. But I just think there's going to be more of those people saying, oh, I've been here at such and such company either in design or in marketing or what have you, and I've always wanted to do a such and such type figure, which I know will never, is never going to be done by this company. But now here's an outlet where if I get my shit together, I could put together a team. Maybe that's it's a possibility.
Well, and at the same time, design houses are design houses. Those guys get paid by doing design and doing work like this. So if a Kickstarter can fund through using a design house, I mean, that's just another customer to them as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
So
cool.
But it's definitely interesting. We've got two successful three successful Kickstarters at this point. We've got the Four Horsemen's initial one. They have Mythic Legions now, and we've seen Boss Fight come through with theirs. And when I mean two successful, I mean with super hyper posable type action figures.
Right.
I don't think anybody. I think the other ones that we've seen pop up have been either 4-inch action figures, or they've been very limited in articulation, kind of a retro Star Wars type thing.
Right, and not to take anything.
Warbo Toys did that Cthulhu line, and that they did a really, 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 really good job with that, because I think they captured exactly what they wanted to do with that line, and that turned out to be a successful one. But I think when we're talking like, I don't know, Fwoosh centric kind of line.
Yeah. Well, like a sort of higher end collector oriented. But even those simpler toys, the fact, I mean, that's still a huge accomplishment even to get that done.
Oh, absolutely.
So it all kind of feeds into the narrative that I think that's sort of the future of, or a part of the future of collector toys, because they're, it's tough for these bigger companies to. This is sort of a hobby horse of mine. I've talked about it before, but it's like it's tough to expect Mattel to put out a figure that would have to retail for them at like $70 to meet the collector expectations, but no retailer is going to sell it for more than $20. So what do they do? It's just not a.
It's not viable, and you're right, from a corporate point of view. They're looking at it from a. They're looking at the business case. They're looking hard at what's our margin and how much is it going to cost, and what's our capex and what's our opex on that, and they're looking at it going, ain't going to happen. We're not going to put the resources into this because it's just not going to pay off. Whereas we get to sit back and say, we as in the collector community can sit back and say, hey, we'll support Four Horsemen or Boss Fight or John Thompson, because John's out there making a figure. And I think as long as the quality is good, for me, the whole thing behind one of these quick Kickstarters is I want something that pops on my shelf.
Yeah.
And it's got to pop in my collection. And I think that's where this Kickstarter stuff, this independent world, is going to be great, because they have that freedom. There's no license technically on some of these things, and they can just come out and do whatever they want. So they have the freedom just to go all out and make a fantastic piece of artwork. So we'll see. I don't know. It's an interesting future.
Well, on the other end of things, Hasbro has been bucking the trend and putting out some great Marvel Legends over the last couple months, as we all are well aware.
They have? Seriously?
It's been a Marvel Legends melee lately.
I've got my Thanos wave pre-ordered now, and I'm sitting here staring at my Marvel Select Thanos, contemplating his fate.
I'll tell you where mine's going.
eBay.
You can't sell this shit, man. Have you been on eBay lately? It's like, God, you cannot sell the price of shipping, even within the States. You're having to like pay $20 just to ship a figure to a guy on the other side of town. No one's buying this crap. People are buying it, but the prices are just so cheap. It's like,
yeah, good time to buy for. It's a good time for fodder, for buying custom fodder.
Great time for fodder.
Yeah, I've got to say I'm torn on Thanos. I think he looks fantastic, but that's me popping in and getting 3 movie figures that I probably wouldn't buy otherwise.
That Hulk is awful. That Hulk is awful.
Well,
what the fuck is that Hulk? That thing is awful.
Well, what do you not like about it?
What's to like about it? Okay, it's got good looking feet.
Well, I haven't
splayed toe. You like the splayed toe?
No, I'm being sarcastic. Jesus Christ!
Well,
that thing is awful.
I haven't seen it in hand, but is it the sculpt? I mean, the sculpt looks fine to me.
Nah, I don't know what it is. First of all, it's bow-legged. It's been riding a horse too long.
A whole
Seriously, when you look at it, look at the thighs. It looks like he's been on the saddle too long.
Well, he does have 2 fists.
Yeah, and have you seen the size of those fists compared to the rest of the body? It's like he's just eating some of Popeye's spinach.
What about the head? Say one good thing about the head.
I can't. I don't like the head at all. And that chest. The chest looks like it's the. You remember that what was it? They did the cartoon figures, I think, of Avengers. Those out of Avengers United or whatever the hell that cartoon was. And they did this really cool looking Hulk out of it. And it was big, boxy Hulk. And I swear, it's like they took that chest and kind of scaled it up, but the rest of the Hulk figure, this movie figure, is really long, so they didn't it just doesn't look right. I don't know what it is. Is
it not mostly a reuse of the Hulk movie figure from the first movie?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. It's thicker.
Yeah, new thighs, new waist, new chest.
Ah, okay.
The arms may be reused.
Kept the biceps and maybe the
biceps.
Right. I don't know. I have this image of Hulk not looking. 2 things. One is this Hulk isn't wide.
Right.
For me, Hulk is he's 7 foot wide, he's 7 feet deep, and he's 7 feet tall. It is this chunk of flesh. This thing looks like a steroided out NBA basketball player or something. I don't know. It's too tall. It's too lanky. It's not really big and thick, and doesn't look like a Mack truck. It doesn't even look like the movie Hulk. I mean, look at Hot Toys movie Hulk. That thing's thick. Everything's thick. It's just massive. Mm-hmm. Whereas this thing just doesn't. I don't know. It's like someone they farted and sneezed and burped at the same time and. This was the result.
That's the best review of an action figure I've ever heard in my life.
Someone
farted and sneezed and burped.
I hate being critical of action figures sometimes. I'll write a bad review sometimes, and there are some like Scarlet Mitch. I mean, that thing just deserved it. And I always write to Nick afterwards and the guys, and I'm like, I really feel badly about just thrashing that figure, but I couldn't find anything good to say. And Hulk is one of those ones where I look at it and I'm like, it looks like a hodgepodge of it looks like a mess,
Yeah.
It looks like an afterthought or something.
So Paps calls that figure for review on the front page then. Is that what I'm getting?
No. Yeah, you buy it, I'll review it.
No, that's the thing. I've already gone down the rabbit hole on the ones that I want, because I will hopefully have Hellcat in my hands before too long. But that just really leaves Batroc and Spider-Woman for me. So I'm having a really hard time with Thanos, even though I would buy another Hellcat because I'm really tempted to make Crystal. But
well, I need 3 Hellcats because I have to make a new Crystal and probably Firestar as well.
Yeah, I was hoping.
That's a good one.
Sorry, Nick.
Stop knocking me into this crap.
But I had been sort of ambivalent about the Thanos when they announced it, because have been pretty happy with the Marvel Select one, despite him being pretty large. And when we saw the reveal of the Build-A-Figure Thanos, he seemed pretty big. So I thought, well, if he's going to be as big, if my main complaint about the Marvel Select one is his size, if the Marvel Legends one is going to be just as big, then what's the point? But I have seen a few comparison videos now, and he is significantly
plastered over multiple threads.
Yeah, so he is definitely markedly smaller than the Marvel Select one. So
Yes.
I think I am now leaning towards keeping him as an upgrade and firing my Marvel Select one.
Yeah.
Even though the
And
Marvel Select's a little more classic looking. But.
It's totally classic, and it's actually not a bad figure. It's a good piece of plastic. It's really hard to fault it, but it is select scale. Whereas the new Thanos Build-A-Figure it's spot on, and plus that look that they did in the comic, it just from what was it, Thanos Rising or whatever that look comes from. They did a good job, So they maybe added some bells and whistles, but they pretty much kept the costume the same.
Yeah, it's really the same. It's all the same idea. It's all the same design elements. Really, it's just a little bit tweaked.
Yeah, they put piping on there. Okay,
right. Yeah,
some shoulder panels and stuff. That's okay.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna come down to when they actually hit, whether or not I go all in, or if I'm able to piece it together slowly, because the movie figures tend to hang around a little longer, so that'll give me some time to flip-flop and go back and forth on whether or not I'm going to actually build that figure.
Do we know offhand if any of them don't come with a piece, like has been the case in some of the recent waves?
I don't think so.
Spider-Woman and Hellcat come with the same piece.
Oh, okay. Well, those are two figures that I want. I was hoping that maybe like one of the movie figures didn't come with a piece.
They got to sell the movie figures somehow.
Yeah.
See, I completed the first Avengers wave, but from the Spider-Man wave, I've got Daredevil, and I'm only going to get the if I can, whenever I find the Pizza Spider-Man, and that's all I'm getting from that series. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go in and get all of Avengers 2. I don't know.
See, I'm weeks to decide.
Yeah. Well, I got an update from Amazon because I've got Spider-Woman and Batroc pre-ordered on there, and they've bumped up the date from the end of May to the start of April.
Oh,
those figures. So.
Yeah, I think it says March 31st. Last I looked.
Yeah, they're never completely accurate, but I mean that's a pretty significant jump up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even more immediate, it seems as though the Shield 3-pack is hitting some Toys R Us's across the country.
Not my Toys R Us.
Not mine either. But so yeah. Now, Robo, you got yours. You got your Coulson early from overseas. But what about Nick and Paul? You guys in on the Shield 3-pack?
No.
I was going to say this is going to sound terrible. I wish the Shield 3-pack was going to be at Target, because Target will actually mark their stuff down like they're doing with the Warbird and Captain America and Radioactive Man set right now, because I would probably buy it at a pretty significant discount, but I really only maybe want Coulson, but because I would cheat him in with the rest of my comic collection. I don't have a movie figure collection for Marvel. I don't.
Well, he is in the comics now, so you don't even need to cheat.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would cheat him in as far as that goes, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm only wanting Coulson from the series.
Me too. It's a tough one.
I don't need a. I don't know. Maybe I would take him. Maybe no. I'm.
I have a movie shelf, so they're going to go just fine up there. I don't have another Coulson to go on my comic shelf. So
right, and you can always use that body for 1,000 other things.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know. That's just
you've got a chameleon. You've got a chameleon that's coming out soon that you're going to need to find.
That's what I was going to say, though. That chameleon is a regular single pack figure, so you can always just buy 1,000 chameleons and find an extra Coulson.
As excited I was when we were sitting there Tony at Toy Fair watching the reveal of that chameleon. It's like it hit me instantly. It was just like, oh, that is so cool to get all 3 of those heads, and then it was just like, God damn it, I'm gonna have to buy that.
Yep.
And I'm still wishy-washy on Hammerhead. Maybe I'll just wait on a body for him because I don't think that body's gonna fit him very well.
No,
but,
it's not. It's not a perfect body for any of them, really.
No.
Yeah, because I'd prefer Jonah with his sleeves rolled up too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, how often do you ever see Jonah depicted with his jacket on?
Yeah.
You know, and
Mayor Jonah.
well, sure.
Oh dang!
But and then Chameleon usually isn't in a shirt and tie either. I mean, even when he's been depicted in a suit, he's usually got either some kind of like turtleneck or ascot, some kind of thing. And Hammerhead, is always in sort of like a 1940s gangster. Then he's usually like more short and stocky.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's his build that kills that for me more than anything.
Do you remember that DC Direct Two-Face that they put out a few years ago? It was a sort of an artist-specific Two-Face, but he was wearing a real like sort of zoot suit, double-breasted suit.
Long Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Hammerhead head would look like on the DC Direct Long Halloween Two-Face.
Wouldn't that? I would think it would probably be too big, especially in comparison with with Legends, right?
But the Long Halloween figures weren't quite that full 7-inch size that a lot of the DC Direct was. I remember I had the Long Halloween Catwoman for a long time because she was just under 6 inches.
Oh, really?
Was that the purple one? Yeah.
Yeah, and that Two-Face, I don't know. He might work. I don't know.
That Two-Face is one of those figures I know I had at some point, but I couldn't tell you where it is. It's gone.
That means you have too many figures.
Yeah.
Or you have a toy room raider that's come and gotten it.
That is true. Can I have this? Sure, take it. Just quit touching my other stuff.
Well, yeah, that's going to be a conundrum for me too, because there's going to be a day where I walk into Toys R Us and it's going to be there on the shelf, and I'm going to think I really want that Coulson, but I don't want to pay $50 for it. So I don't know.
Well, it's
TBA.
Toys R
Us never marks down.
Yeah,
So.
I was going to say it's Toys R Us, so give them a couple of months and it'll be $60.
Yeah. Well, I heard tales of people finding that X-Men set marked down at different Toys R Us, but I never saw it. I never experienced that.
They couldn't give it away to me.
I think I saw it online marked down more than I haven't seen it in store in a while.
Well,
on the flip side, I just found the Target 3-pack, Miss Marvel and Captain America, blah blah blah, $12.48 this morning.
what?
Yeah,
In store or online?
in store.
Holy smokes! That's half the
Yeah.
price for a single figure.
Yeah.
I hope you bought it.
Oh yeah.
So what are you going to do? What are you going to do with it?
What are you
What
gonna
are
I
do?
have no
plans?
idea.
What's-
It was one of those things where it's like, it's so cheap, I must buy it.
If you're going to give it to me.
Go back
Yeah.
and buy another one, please.
I
I
got
was
two.
gonna say,
Got
Warbird's got useful hair. You know,
Yeah.
that hair sculpt is good, and it's a little generic. So
Well, and that whole body.
Yeah.
For a lot of female figures. It's funny. The one thing that I wanted to do when I bought that was I had I had made a custom Radioactive Man years ago, and the only good thing about it was that yellow chest symbol. I had cut that out of like a plastic card, and it was pretty sharp, if I do say so myself. And I thought, you know what? When I buy that new Radioactive Man, because he's mostly painted details, not a lot of like sculpted clothes. I thought I'm gonna glue that on him. He's gonna look so much better. And then I got the set and I got it home, and that piece on him glows in the dark.
yeah,
So then I was like, well, I guess it glows in the dark, so I guess I can't cover it up with a thing. So there he is with his sort of like cheaply painted glow in the dark thing that is never going to be seen in the dark. So I don't know why I'm worried about it.
Well,
But-
speaking of Warbird, because I realize we've gotten Carol now two figures pretty close to each other. But what are your guys' favorite current Hasbro female figures? Anyone?
Well, go ahead.
I'm liking Scarlet Witch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the initial disappointment of getting the first one and it being floppy, but
Yeah.
then instantly getting another one and it being perfect. I guess that's the one that sticks in my head right now.
Yeah, I was going to say Scarlet Witch and the Warbird version of Carol are probably my two favorites right now.
Yeah, it's tough for me because those are pretty much the only ones that I have in hand. I mean,
You don't have Black Cat?
Oh yeah, okay. That's going back a little ways. So I wasn't. That was. It's not that old of a figure, but it's funny because that feels like the ages ago. If you're going back that far, I think I'd go with Black Cat. As much as delighted as I am with the upgrade in Scarlet Witch and as good a body that I think that new Captain Marvel figure is on. The Black Cat is probably the most satisfying of the three, just on balance as a figure to me. So I would probably go with that one.
Has anybody done the foot switch?
I've thought about doing that with Wanda. I may wait until I find another one because I'm not going to probably display the Avengers series Captain Marvel since I'll display Warbird. So I don't have an issue sacrificing her feet to that, but I don't want to mess up Wanda.
I understand it's a little more complicated than a clean swap. You got to do a little bit of adjusting, right?
Right. The peg's too long or something. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah. And I'm surprised. I mean, maybe that's. At first, I was surprised that we didn't see a lot more of those swaps immediately online. But I guess that is just a product of it being not a simple.
Well, it's not simple, but just looking at the pictures, to me, it eliminates the only thing about the figure that I don't like. So
Yeah.
And it's not Hasbro's fault, really, because it's accurate, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just pro abolishing all high heels. And
Well, does she wear? Does she now wear the high heels in the comics? Is it accurate?
She had to have at some point.
Well, if she did,
Justification.
It's got if she did, it's got to be real recent because it's not in the classic Scarlet Witch that I recall. Never had.
Right.
But, yeah. No, I would be interested in doing that at some point. Although I haven't had too much trouble getting her to stand. I know that's been a big thing with both. I had more of a problem with Medusa. I was never able to really get the Medusa figure who's on the same body, but she's much more back-weighted with the hair.
See, that's funny because I have the exact opposite problem. But my Wanda, her right knee is just slightly soft, so I think that's leading to issues that I'm having with her. But I never had a problem with Medusa.
Well, there you go. This is something I wanted to ask you for a while. I'm sure that everyone will be really interested in this. Does your Medusa's head, does it feel like it's not completely flush onto the body? Do you have anything any of you guys?
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of floating.
Okay, it's not just me then.
No, it's like yeah, I haven't been able to figure it out, but it's for the first part it's loose.
It feels like maybe the hole isn't drilled deeply or widely enough to fully accommodate the peg or something.
Yeah, or it's the wrong neck peg they put on, or I haven't really gotten into the nitty gritty of it and overanalyzed it, but yeah, it kind of floats on the top of her neck.
She was sort of like the Jesus, what's his name from Alpha Flight? The Guardian figure from Alpha Flight that they put out a few years back, where you took him out of the package. You're like, his head isn't on all the way, and you're trying to like jam it down, and you realize it's just the peg's the wrong size or something.
Yeah, and that head was too small anyway. That thing's another abomination.
that figure should have been bigger, right? I mean, that's a bigger guy, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's again one of those 6'2" listed. His listing. If you go by his listing, he's another one of the Captain America builds. 6'2" type of 220 or whatever. But
wait, are we talking about? We're not talking about Captain Britain, though, right?
No, Guardian. Canada.
I would like to see them redo him on the Bucky Cap body.
But Captain Britain's he's like 6 foot. He's supposed to be like 6'6" or 8.
6'6". Yeah.
He's definitely supposed to be bigger. Yeah.
He should be on the Sabretooth Buck.
Right. Or at least the Grim Reaper Craven Buck.
Yeah.
One of those.
One of them.
I can't wait to see that thing in hand and really compare it.
Yeah, I know. That Craven looks awesome. Can't wait to get that.
Yeah.
You know,
got like 10 customs planned for that thing.
Yeah, when they first showed that at the showing, I thought, oh, the costume looks a little overdone for me, blah, 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 blah. But then seeing the press pictures and really looking at it, he really does look fantastic.
Yeah. What do we know anything about? I mean, with the Thanos wave coming out essentially in a few weeks to a month, we know when the rest of this stuff is hitting, the next Spider-Man wave or the Ant-Man Legends. It's probably not that far off, right?
I just with the amount of stuff that they showed off, timing wise, I think a lot of that stuff's going to have to be coming before July or right around July.
Well, certainly the Ant-Man Legends isn't going to come out after the movie opens.
Yeah.
I would assume, or at least it's just not charted.
When did X-Men Legends come out? Was that before or after the movie?
It was right on it, I think.
It was right on it, but it also wasn't tied as much. I mean, it was X-Men, but there weren't any movie figures in it.
Yeah.
This is really. I mean, this literally has Ant-Man movie figure
right
in it. I mean, I would think that they'd want that out at least, if not before the movie, right on top of it, right, as opposed to after. But I guess also whenever they plan stuff, certainly that's subject to production, shipping, customs, etc., etc.
It'd be nice. Remember back in the day when we used to get figures 6 months ahead of the movie? Spider-Man, I think it was. And then something else.
And a Green Lantern came out pretty far ahead, too. If I'm remembering.
I think the only one that hit at the same time, I think I went and saw Dark Knight and then went to Walmart and there was the figures that day.
Right. And that's that's going to be an interesting Comic-Con, or either San Diego or New York Comic-Con. It'll be interesting to see if Mattel talks about if they're doing anything for the new DC movies.
Well, because with Marvel Studios pulling out of Comic-Con, it may be DC's chance to maybe get a little bit of a foothold in on doing some movie conversation at Comic-Con this year.
Because they'll be less than a year out by that time. So if you figure, when is that movie comes out in July of 2016 or something?
No,
like
I think it's March.
Oh, it's that early?
Yeah.
So then they're really
early in March.
So if the movie comes out that early, and if you expect that any merchandise would be out no later than that, then if they're doing anything for it, it's got to be practically going into production by sometime late summer. I expect we would hear about it, if not in San Diego, then by New York. Be interesting.
And it seems like they have a hell of a lead time knowing costumes, and they don't have the excuse of we didn't get the designs until too late in the process.
Right. The only question is, are they still committed to doing anything at mass retail with that license?
I don't know.
In a scale we care about.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because even the scale which we don't care about, the multiverse. I mean, I don't. If my memory serves, they didn't show anything new at Toy Fair for the multiverse or whatever they're calling it.
No, I think they're winding that down.
Yeah. So who knows? And of course, well, it'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. What else is on your guys' toy minds this last couple weeks?
Let's see. I've got Titanfall 3-0's Titanfall Atlas figure robot. That's just came into Big Bad Toy Store, so that's going to be on the way. My youngest son has spent the last year and a half saving up for that birthday.
How
money.
much was that figure?
Let's not talk about that. The fact that my little kid is able to pinch pennies and find ways to generate revenue generate an income in order to save up for that and buy himself a PlayStation 4. There's something fucked up going on over here. I don't know what.
He's doing better than I am.
Yeah, but he doesn't buy anything. He doesn't go out and spend money on candy. He doesn't spend money on this and that. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't go to the grocery store and just pick up a perchance item. He saves his money. And I even try to entice him and say, well, what about this and what about that? Nope.
Oh, good for him.
So he sticks to his guns. He decides what he wants, and then he goes after it. And so that's coming. So that'll be really cool. And even though it's his, I am allowed to play with it. So that's pretty cool. And then Bandai's SH Figure Arts Sasuke, who is from the cartoon Naruto, the anime Naruto, that just shipped as well, and I'm pretty excited about that. So hopefully they'll finish off those three main characters soon. And then Batman is on the way.
Oh, your Mezco?
Yeah, that just shipped. And then also R2D2, Bandai's model kit, that should be on the way. But I haven't gotten anything. It's due for March. So
March 28th is the drop. What?
You got that marked on your calendar.
Yep. Damn, Robo, you're all over it. That's right. I think out of all the Star Wars stuff that's hitting right now, those are my favorites.
Oh yeah.
Except I am looking for Black Series Bosk. I've heard that's been showing up here and there.
Ooh,
so
exciting.
Really?
Yeah. Houston, I think. Somewhere down
I
there.
didn't keep an eye
yeah.
on that.
Houston.
That's that was definitely one of my as I cherry picked that Black Series line, that was definitely one that I'm looking to get.
Yeah, I'm only doing the bounty hunters, so that fit. And the clones.
I hope you don't have to wait too long for Dengar.
And it doesn't help when Matt. It doesn't help when Matt K gets Bosk first as far as anticipation goes, because Jesus, that just kind of pushes it right over the top.
Yeah. That was a cool photo shoot.
IG-88 is going to be interesting to see, though. I'm worried.
I'll tell you, that entire experience at Toy Fair with IG-88 totally pissed me off because I was a foot away from that figure and I still could not tell what the articulation setup was on that thing.
Right.
The only thing I want to know is the hips. If somebody can just confirm, is it just a standard good old day T-crotch, or did they do something cool? And same thing, I think, with the shoulders. Are there ball joints, or are we just talking classic swivels? That's all I really need to know right now.
I don't know. I feel like I need to turn in some of my cred because I was looking at it and I could not tell.
Yeah. Well, same here. Yeah, it's. I mean, and then I guess there's that eternal debate. The actual character couldn't really move. So
he's not
how much do you?
Yeah.
Right. How much do you need the figure to move? Do you need him to do more than the actual character could do?
He is a robot. He should be able to dance the robot. So.
Right. That's a good.
I disagree. I think he is kind of a ninja. I think he's got the whole ninja thing going on.
Oh, that's expanded universe. That's all been thrown out.
Oh, get over that box though.
Well, we don't know how much of that's been.
In my collection, I think he's a ninja.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, we'll find out which of you is right soon enough, because whatever the toy does, that will be the truth.
And then I'll be waiting for the model kit. Yeah.
That'd be a cool one.
Well, certainly, the Astromech model kit is probably, in my view, going to be one of the best of all of them, because if there's any nitpick about the model kits, it's the look of some of the joints on, like, the Vader and Stormtrooper. Like, if you pose them the right way, or I guess the wrong way, depending on your point of view,
right,
it kind of shows it. But that's obviously not a concern with the Astromechs. So,
or any of the droids, really. I mean,
yeah. R2 may be my first endeavor into the model kits.
I just wish they weren't, priced as they are, because
They're not bad. $20.
15.
Yeah.
Wait. What are they?
Bandai's kits, man.
Oh.
Bandai's kits are like $15-$20.
I'm thinking of the. Am I thinking of the Revoltech?
Oh yeah, that's
fuck that.
2-pack.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I'm. Okay, I'm thinking of the Revoltech.
Yeah, the
set,
model
which
is. I think it comes with the motorized wheels, the ones you're talking about.
in the lights. Yeah, like the thing lights up. Yeah.
Wow.
For $15, you model kit, you get R5 and R2.
Right,
Yep.
right. So the Bandai. Okay, now I've got to. Who's turning in their cred now? I'm googling the Bandai R2D2. I don't even know.
And then their C-3PO drops next month.
Right.
Google, you just need to Fwoosh, man. Robo's already covered these on the front page last week.
Well,
week
that's
before.
the first hit on Google.
That's right. It's because my name's on there.
It's like the fourth. All right. Well, maybe I'll get in on
those
this
pictures
after
just
all.
showed up. I mean, I'm surprised they waited that long to show the pictures before actual. I mean, with the release being that quick, so soon,
Yeah,
they waited
they're-
forever to get some actual pictures up.
Somehow their model, that whole model part that they got going on, that's I don't know what's going on with that. You know, SH Figure Arts and most of the other stuff that they do, Monster Arts, etc., on Tamashi.jp, Bandai's website. They're doing a great job getting the action figure stuff out. But these model kits, they keep kind of they're floating around, and I haven't been able to find a good website. And there's a number of Bandai model sites, but they all seem to be posting the pictures really late. So I don't know what's going on. It's driving me nuts. I'd really like them to bang these pictures out and get these model kits out, because these things are awesome and they look great next to the Star Wars Black Series stuff. So
The
crazy.
Bandai-hobby.net is where they post the pictures first.
yeah, and but
It
that
was
was
March
late.
5th when they posted
Yeah.
these. Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy to me that these sync up so well with Black Series. I mean, that type of luck never happens. That's cool that it works out that way, because I'm definitely going to jump on R2 now.
I mean, he should be.
Get that Vader.
Where'd you guys
Vader and the Stormtroopers.
Where'd you guys pre-order for him?
I do a
Ami
hobby
Ami?
search, but that's just because I've done them for years now. But whether it's Ami Ami, Hobby Link Japan, or Hobby Search, you're pretty much getting kind of the same service, and they all come out around the same time. So,
Well,
Well, and pre-ordering from there, you're paying about as much shipping as you are for the figure. So, but still,
Well,
$30. I'm paying 20 to 24 for Black Series. So,
right. So there you go.
Invader
Okay.
and Stormtrooper on Amazon right now.
the only
So
thing about Vader, and I think someone did this. They took the cloth cape from the Hasbro Vader, and they put it onto the Bandai Vader, and it looks really, really sharp. And I'm that's going to be the only reason I buy that Hasbro Vader, is to get the cape.
Robo, what do you think the success rate for Frankensteining those two figures together would be?
I think it'd be pretty high. I mean, I have both. Well, I had both figures, but I ended up. I kind of like the shell. I mean, it's annoying,
Mm-hmm.
but standing on the shelf, it looks pretty. Just
Pops.
yeah. Yeah, I wish before I put it together, I wish I had dull coated the cloth and the non-armor parts,
Right.
but I'm not taking them back apart. So, but the Stormtrooper is really nice. Really nice.
I just got the Aaron Yeager Titan. And I know you guys probably know nothing about Attack on Titan, but really popular. Attack on Titan. It's a popular anime that's been out, and Kotobukiya just did. I probably just butchered that, like I usually do. My kids will laugh at me and say, "Dad, you're an idiot. Learn how to say these Japanese words." They do, seriously. They listen to our shows and our stuff, and they always they're after me.
Is it Kodo Bakaya?
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I'll have.
Gosh,
That's
we're
the
gonna have to
Arkansas
get that right.
I'll hear. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. Kodo. I call him Kodo.
Yeah.
But that kit just came out, and it's essentially a 6-inch figure. And yeah, I know it's a naked guy, but it's great. It's a great model. And for $20, you're getting a good, super articulated action figure. And instead of having to pay $50-$60 for some of these import figures, I'm paying $20 to put a model together of an action figure. That's like a dream come true. It's a model. I love building models, so I get to build a model, and then it's an action figure, and it's in my favorite scale, and it's superposable. I love it.
Win, win, win.
Give me more.
Yeah. Sweet.
Speaking of, I did just random thought. Kodo was one of the Beastmaster's ferrets, wasn't it?
Kodo
Kodo.
and Podo, I think.
That's been so
Oh
long.
my God.
That's what shot in my head.
Did you
I
just
apologize.
fucking pull
I'm
that out
sorry.
of your ass?
I did.
Hey, listen. I saw that movie about 1,000 times.
So did I. Love it.
Kodo and
watch
Podo. And Mark Singer, oh God, what was he just on? What show, what comic book show was he just on? Criminy. Flash. No, Arrow. He was on, he's, if you've been watching Arrow, they've been doing the flashbacks in Hong Kong.
Okay, that was him.
Yeah, and he's the general who is right now coming off as sympathetic, but clearly there's the other
There's
shoe's
always
gonna
a
drop.
turn.
Yeah. It was good to see him back on the TV.
Total
Now I've just gone to an entirely another place. Just
random
like,
offshoot.
I'm like, is Beastmaster streaming on Netflix?
We may
Can I watch that today?
we have to stop here. The show's over. It's done.
Yeah.
We
Now we're all
can
gonna
only
go
go
watch-
down from here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Beastmaster. We should make toys
Wait,
with Beastmaster.
I was just gonna say, what a great
Fwoosh should start a
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter.
Beastmaster.
With
We
the
could do it.
animals.
Oh yeah.
We could do it. Kodo and Podo accessories.
And you guys are old.
That's right. We're all over 40 now.
Oh, it's our little
congratulations,
40
Robo.
club.
Yeah, I hit the.
Oh,
hit
happy
the mark.
birthday, belated.
Man. I caught myself this week saying "back in my day." So back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a problem these days. I'll be on the forum sometimes, and I'll be reading some of the posts, like in the Marvel forum, or even in the general forum, which I tend to go to the most. And people will be talking about like a certain costume rendition or a certain character, and I'm like, okay, I haven't heard that name in a while. Why the hell are they talking about them? That guy was like dead in the 70s. And then I kind of catch myself and I go, man, I am old. I'm really old.
Because it's someone that they've brought back recently.
Or the costume that they showed was like, some sort of new fancy. It would be like taking Batroc and putting him into some sort of new fancy costume, and
Right.
it's like, but I catch myself on these conversations constantly, and I'm like, I'm not 13 anymore.
I wasn't dead in the 70s, but I wasn't alive in the 70s.
You weren't tracking the costume designs of central Marvel Universe characters at the time? No. Well, no, I have had the experience on the boards. I can't think of a specific example, but people debating costume designs for characters, and someone saying, "Well, I prefer his classic look," and there's a picture, and I think, "What?
Yeah.
How is that?" And they're like, "Well, he wore it for 20 years from 1999 to 2009." And I'm like, "Oh crap!"
or the classic Jim Lee era.
Yeah.
Like, what in the hell? No.
God, that's a really old costume from the Jim Lee era. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, that's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What they meant by old was terrible.
Oh. Sorry, Jim Lee.
There was some good looks. He had.
Oh yeah, and I totally
It
understand.
wasn't. It wasn't terrible.
Starting out with the cartoon and that kind of thing, but
Classic.
yeah, getting old.
Yeah.
Well, that's I was listening to. I was on the airplane the other day on the way back from Bangkok, and I decided, okay, I need to. I can't watch these fucking movies anymore, and the lady next to me is annoying me, and I'm hot, and I'm gonna listen to some music as we're landing. So I go onto the music station on the plane, and I'm like, oh, they've got rock and roll. They got hard rock. I'll turn on some hard rock. Looked at the first compilation album of hard rock, and it says classic rock, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And it's like Guns N' Roses and Foo Fighters and Nirvana, and I'm like, oh my god, when did this become classic rock? Classic rock is like, Elvis Presley.
Oh, that's real classic rock. I was gonna say like Bachman Turner Overdrive or something.
Yeah, so Boston.
Yeah, Boston. There you go.
No, we're old.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
Enjoy it.
Yeah, there's as the old folks say, what's the alternative, right? So
That's true. Not buying toys.
Wow, this whole cast is taking a real downsturn.
Well, hold on. I got to ask BB. Nick, I got to ask you a question. How's Kansas doing right now?
They're going to win the Big 12 tournament tonight. Thanks.
Good stuff.
They already won the regular season Big 12 when they weren't supposed to be any good, but
Are you guys talking about the basketball?
That's all I got, man. That's
Okay.
I know nothing. I'm completely out of the conversation.
Yeah, I don't really. I gotta say, I don't know too much about basketball.
The Jayhawk basketball and a little bit of NHL hockey is about all I pay attention to, and the Royals, of course, but it's not Royals time yet.
Well, just about. Although they lost
about.
Jamie Shields, so.
I'm not overly sad about Shields. I mean, he'll probably end up doing a lot better this year than he did last year, just because of the luck of it. But
Well, he did all right last year.
he did all right. But
Yeah.
when he really needed to do well, he did not.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was just about to go down to a baseball rabbit hole and lose all of the listeners that we might have had.
We might gain some new ones.
We could have a specialized Fwoosh baseball podcast.
I could talk about how great the Texas Rangers are
Yeah, we'll
And
get
the
Prodigy in here.
and Houston Astros.
Hey, Houston is set to start winning again. The Astros and the Cubs, they're going to be ascendant now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Anyway, back to toys. See, this is what old men do. We forget what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Mind wanders.
this. I completely derailed everything. So it's
That's
my
right.
fault.
You know what? You were just about out of time.
I think
anyway.
the Beastmaster is where it started.
It did. It's Robo's fault.
I still want the toys, though.
Oh my god! But think about how great. I mean, you've got classic, savage sort of barbarian-ish figures with all kinds of great accessories, and then you've got the sort of mutant road warrior type villains that you can throw in there.
Oh, dang, Road Warrior. Now that's something that needs toys. The new one? Oh.
How does classic Road Warrior not have toys?
It did have toys.
Yeah.
It was N2
seems-
toys. N2 toys. Is that right?
Yeah.
Were they any good? That
They were
feels like something.
terrible.
That feels like something NECA should do.
N2 toys. Who was N2 toys? Oh man, they did Matrix, and they did. Oh, they did some.
Oh, they had that playset, right? That Matrix playset.
They did
that
Mad
everybody
Max.
uses.
They did Mad Max figures. That's right. Pow.
Mad Max action.
But the new one looks absolutely insane. And I can't believe nobody's doing anything with that.
Yeah.
Don't know, man.
Huh. I guess they figure only a bunch of old dongs like us would be interested in.
Of the new one, though? The new one?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
But-
does anyone think the new movie is going to do anything?
Oh,
I haven't seen anything.
Oh, you need to watch the trailers for it. Crazy.
How'd I miss it?
It's
The trailer
great.
is it's back to Road Warrior levels of insanity. It's
Yeah.
just kind of
I'm
out
having
there.
enough trouble trying to keep up with all the comic book movies and TV shows right now.
And AARP mailings.
Oh, what?
Oh. Well, what about Chappie?
That kind of bombed, didn't it?
Chappie.
Is it out?
Yeah. It's out in the States.
Okay.
Isn't the 3 Zeros coming out with the 12-inch figure, aren't they?
Yeah, that thing looks
Yeah.
insane.
Interchangeable faces.
Yeah.
Mad Max Fury Road. So Tom Hardy,
Yeah.
is he playing
He's playing
Yeah.
the
Max.
same character?
Yeah, you should watch it because it will exorcise any remaining Mel Gibson demons that may be hanging over your head.
If,
I'm not
anybody
gonna
out
watch
there
it
is
unless it has the Bane voice. I can't.
I'm going to figure that most of our listeners are more VB's age. They may not be they may not be as familiar with Mad Max. They're thinking, what is this road war? What are they talking about? And in case there are anybody out there, here's the plot summary for Mad Max Fury Road. It's an apocalyptic story set in the furthest reaches of our planet, in a stark desert landscape where humanity is broken and almost everyone is crazed fighting for the necessities of life. Within this world exist 2 rebels on the run who just might be able to restore order. There's Max, a man of action and a man of few words, who seeks peace of mind following the loss of his wife and child in the aftermath of the chaos. And Furiosia, a woman of action, and a woman who believes her path to survival may be achieved if she can make it across the desert back to her childhood homeland. So it's pretty much the exact plot of every Mad Max movie so far.
So far.
Watch the trailer.
Just see it.
And the trailer is the
Alright.
same thing as any other Mad Max. It's a lot of driving around and punkers on bikes throwing grenades and chains and whatnot at Max. It's fantastic. But this time it's
hard to
just
argue with
hyped
that.
up to about, instead of it being around 8, it's been turned up to 11.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll drive
But
that
what are
tank
they
up.
rebelling against?
Who knows?
What do you got?
What are you-
They're rebelling against a violent world. Wouldn't that make them hippies?
I need to go
Stop
back
trying
to
to explain it, damn it.
Just watch the trailer.
I need to go back to the Beastmaster real fast because of the action figures that
Let's just live with the beat. This is now a Beastmaster podcast.
we need a Tanya Roberts action figure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The world is not right without one.
Exactly.
Do you know there was apparently several more Beastmaster movies? I was vaguely aware that they had made like some kind of straight-to-video sequel, but I'm on IMDb now, and there was something called Beastmaster 3, The Eye of Braxis. And that just feels wrong.
Through the portal of time. 1991.
Well,
Casper Van Dien is apparently in it.
if we spend all this time talking about Beastmaster, then I'm booking time on the next podcast that we have to devote solely to Willow or some shit like that.
Nope, it's just a Beastmaster podcast
We
now.
don't
That's all we're going to talk
new
about.
movies now. Come on.
All right, well, let's talk about Beastmaster 4.
Somebody's going to do it.
Part 4 in a 4-part podcast.
There was a syndicated TV series? Holy crap, man. Beastmaster. There was even something in 2005? Wow.
What?
Woo! I'm getting hot in here.
We've got to figure out how to get those toys made.
We gotta
It's
make
got to happen.
toys.
God, it's so sad. All right, fine. Enough Beastmaster. But what a great idea. Who directed that film? Don
It's going to make a
Coscarelli.
difference on
And
the
it goes
toy.
on like
Did
this.
Did he direct anything else? Like, was that just like the apex of his brilliant?
Oh my god. Wait a minute. Holy shit, we need to get Venti on here. Stat.
This is the guy.
Don Coscarelli This is the guy who
The
did
guy who wrote Bubba
Phantasm.
Hotep.
Yeah.
And Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep. Oh,
Bubba
shit, that's a
Hotep.
good movie.
There you go.
Fantastic.
See? I knew there was some mastery involved.
Wow, this is getting good. Phantasm toys. We need Phantasm toys too.
Jesus. All right. I think we've spun out into the end of this podcast. Let's quit while we're behind.
It's Robo's fault. He killed it.
Oh, man. You said Kodo.
Kodo and Podo. They are my eyes. No, the bird was his eyes. They were his thieves, right? And the bear was
Right.
his
So that
strength.
would make them his fingers. Right?
They are my fingers. We got to quit before I get on YouTube clips of Beastmaster, because that's the next place I'm going.
Because I have to remember what the bad guy looks like.
He had a big, like, crazy helmet on, right?
Yeah,
Like,
something like that. And I seem to remember being scared when I was a kid.
Oh, it was fucking scary. Jesus, do you remember when his partner was like, pull for your freedom, pull for your freedom? That
Scary.
was fucking scary.
But then, I seem to... Was there a naked part in that movie, too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah,
Well, I mean, at least,
All those movies back then, they were.
yeah. I don't think I've watched it since I finished puberty, so it might not have been actual nudity. It might have been like what a 12-year-old considers to be nudity.
That or a Baptist mom would consider.
Right. It's about the same.
Yeah. Enough for her hand to dart over in front of my eyes every time
Right.
the water showed up.
Right. Well, there was some cliche moment about him, like, happening upon her while she's bathing in the pond or
Right.
something, right? Yeah. And then, like, Kodo and Podo steal her clothes or something. and he's like, oh, Kodo and Podo, you are my thieves.
Coco and Loco are the wingmans, literally, right?
1982. And at the same year, you had Conan the Barbarian with Arnold. What a great year. What a fantastic year for movies.
All right, you farts. This is over. I'm calling it.
I was one.
God.
Lucky you. Oh, all right. Next episode is all about 1992. And Nick can talk about.
Ooh, that's a good year too. A fine vintage.
1982. I think that was the last gasp of Mego too. Wasn't that the last year that Mego put out any of their world's greatest superheroes?
I don't remember. But was it 1980? Was 82 G.I. Joe or was that Transformers?
I'm going to say Transformers because I think G.I. Joe was 83 or 84.
What, the show or the movie?
The
Toys.
forage.
G.I. Joe.
Toys.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
I'm going to say 84.
Nope. G.I. Joe, right here. Hold on, let me go to Plaid Stallions. 1982.
Oh, really?
Yep, G.I. Joe.
All right. Well, there you go.
That was He-Man, too. Well, I guess He-Man was technically the end of 81, but... Yeah, that was a good toy year.
Listen to us.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ending it. I'm calling it. It's over.
All
We've
right.
lost all of our listeners a half an hour
What
ago.
is the recap going to be? Beast Man?
It's just going to be a huge picture of Mark Singer's pecs. And it's going to say, the all Beastmaster episode after we talked about Mythic Legions and Marvel Legends for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about that stuff.
Remember that?
Part 2
Atlas.
starts in 10 minutes.
Atlas might make a good Beastmaster custom.
Jesus. All right. Good night, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Mercy kill. Play nice out there. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Bye.